Fantastic.
I was
Thank
on
you.
mute.
No worries, brother.
There's an explosion. I'm Charlie Hart. I'm with Ledvance, better known as Sylvania. That's the brand we sell in the B2C
Yep.
space. And my question is, there's an explosion of platforms.
Yes.
You can interface with consumers over what appears to be a myriad of different platforms. The last one that came to my attention was Parler.
Correct.
When do you know when you need to jump on? You just jump on as soon as you can? Is it splash paint on every one or what?
I'm a big fan that this is all about consumer insights, Charlie. And so for me, Parler is the greatest indication of how to understand the psyche of conservative point of view Americans right now. And so I'm on it watching and listening and learning as a human, but to be frank, as a businessman. And so I believe that people think of these platforms as I have to go on there and sell, make money. This has to be worth my time. To me, going on these platforms early, the worth my time is getting early indications of the psychology and the anthropology of how humans think, which then I factor into how I create and do. So I don't see how in any shape or form, when everybody here is selling to at least 50% of humans that think that way, that Parler does, why that's not a good use of 2 hours. Even if you're the most liberal left person in this room, when you put on your business hat, the insights are very important. And so, but you also have to know the demo, right? I know that skews dramatically far right to middle right, and that's the psyche and why they're there. I know that TikTok was young girls first. Now it's at 30 and 40-year-olds all of a sudden may hit the radar here. The reason when I saw so many, all I'm doing is listening all the time. The reason I asked how many people are here at B2B and I see 80% of the hands go up, now all of a sudden I'm going to talk a lot about LinkedIn because I want to bring as much value to this audience right now when I'm with you. So I think it's context, distribution, things of that nature. You got to know who you're selling to, what you're selling. And then there's, so if you're a consumer product, you have to have a massive Facebook and Instagram, strategy and execution because it takes up so many people's hours of mind time. It's like, Facebook and Instagram combined is like running commercials on MASH in the 80s. Everyone's seeing it if you're good at it, and so that's how I think about that, Charlie. I think for everybody here, if you have ambition, if you have professional ambition, every one of these things that pop up are worth 5 hours of your time. If you're a private person, create a fake account, make it about your business, not you. Create a fake person, I don't care, but learn what people are doing on it and how they're thinking when they're in that room. Because once you understand that Charlie's a different person when he's going through his LinkedIn than he is when he's going through his Facebook, that once you understand that, you're gonna put out different videos and pictures on those platforms. This is real creative strategy. And that's something that a lot of people miss the mark on as well. Everybody just wants to use all these platforms as distribution, Charlie. Everybody's looking for efficiencies. Hey, Gary, can I just make one video and post it everywhere? No, you cannot. Do you act the same way with your grandchildren that you act with your boss, that you do with your girlfriends on your 50th anniversary meetup in Las Vegas? No, you have different angles to your personality. Why would you put the same video on TikTok that you're going to put on LinkedIn? You couldn't be more different with the potential people that are going to be consuming that. You have to make your product, service, and what you're trying to accomplish completely contextually different in those environments. But people value scale and lower, right, versus relevance. Corey, back to your world. This is my biggest problem with big corporations. They value potential reach over actual consumer relevance, which is why you get one commercial and you get one big media spend, and then you get a little bit of bullshit matching luggage for digital that's usually done on programmatic garbage inventory, and you call it a day, and then everybody's trying to figure out why we're losing market share. It's because we're not consumer centric. Putting the same video on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook is not being consumer friendly. It's being efficient for you on distribution, but you're actually wasting your time more than you're winning because you're not getting to anybody. Back to the vanilla analogy that I told Carol, because nobody gives a shit.
The reason for that, though, is they're trying to be brand consistency, right? So they're doing the same thing across multiple platforms where you're consistent across your brand.
But that's a thing that's taught at business school and taught at university. It doesn't play out to real humans. Nobody walks around and talks about brand consistency. Nobody.
No, but that promise of the brand needs to be relevant in whatever space.
Yes, but think about it. If I said to everybody right now, everybody write down what Nike means to them. Everybody write down what Coca-Cola means for them. You're gonna get different answers. There may be some thematics, but you're gonna get different answers. And until we as companies understand that it's more about relevance, this brand consistency that big companies play on is academia. It's corporation talk. It's politics. It doesn't manifest in true practicality on the consumer level. Think about even back to the B2B people. What you might say to the actual CFO or CIO may be very different than somebody you would say 2 layers down if you're a salesperson in here. And you have to replicate that in the content that may inspire them to bring the awareness to the decision maker. Context. It's incredibly important. It's how you get to 15 pieces of content. If you're religious about context, you now understand 15. If you're thinking about efficiencies for distribution, you think in 1 piece of content.